Week 6, United Nations and Global AI Governance. A. UN AI Advisory Body. The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence. AI has created new and complex governance challenges for the international community. In response, the United Nations UN has taken steps to play a leading role in shaping global AI governance. One of the most prominent initiatives is the UN Secretary-General's AI Advisory Body, which serves as a key platform for international dialogue and policy coordination. This advisory body is designed to assess the ethical, social, and economic implications of AI and to propose global norms and policy frameworks. Its functions can be understood in three main areas. First, it contributes to the development of global standards. Given that AI technologies operate across borders, the establishment of shared principles such as safety, transparency, and accountability is essential. The advisory body seeks to provide guidelines that can serve as a reference for national and international regulation. Second, it promotes multilateral cooperation. AI governance cannot be effectively addressed by individual states alone, as its impacts are inherently global. The UN provides a neutral platform where countries can engage in dialogue, share best practices, and coordinate policy responses. Third, it offers policy guidance to member states. By issuing recommendations, the advisory body helps governments design AI policies that are aligned with broader international norms and expectations. Despite these contributions, the UN AI advisory mechanism faces significant structural limitations. Most notably, it lacks enforcement power. While it can recommend standards and frameworks, it has no formal authority to ensure that states comply with them. This limitation reflects a broader characteristic of international law, which relies heavily on voluntary cooperation. In addition, there is a growing mismatch between the rapid pace of AI development and the slower processes of international policymaking. The UN's consensus-based decision-making structure often results in delays, making it difficult to respond effectively to fast-evolving technological changes. In sum, while the UN AI Advisory Body plays an important role in shaping global discourse, its impact is constrained by institutional and structural challenges. B. Limits of multilateral governance. Multilateralism is often regarded as the most appropriate and desirable framework for governing artificial intelligence AI, given its inherently transnational nature. In theory, a multilateral approach allows for collective decision-making, shared responsibility, and the establishment of universal norms. However, in practice, multilateral governance of AI faces a range of significant and persistent constraints that limit its effectiveness. First, conflicts of interest among states present a major obstacle. AI is not merely a technological innovation, but a strategic asset that intersects with military capabilities, economic competitiveness, and national security. As a result, states are deeply invested in maintaining or enhancing their relative advantage in AI development. The ongoing rivalry between the United States and China exemplifies this dynamic, as both countries view AI as a cornerstone of future global power. Within such a competitive geopolitical environment, cooperation is often subordinated to strategic rivalry, making meaningful multilateral agreements difficult to achieve. Second, issues of sovereignty complicate multilateral governance efforts. States are generally reluctant to cede authority over emerging technologies that have profound domestic implications. AI policies are closely tied to national priorities, including economic development, political values, and regulatory traditions. Consequently, governments tend to resist international norms or agreements that may constrain their autonomy in policymaking. This tension between global coordination and national sovereignty remains a fundamental challenge in building effective multilateral governance structures. Third, regulatory asymmetry further undermines the prospects for unified governance. Different countries and regions adopt varying approaches to AI regulation, reflecting divergent priorities and institutional frameworks. For example, the European Union has pursued a more precautionary and regulatory-oriented approach, emphasizing ethical standards, data protection, and risk mitigation. In contrast, other countries prioritize innovation and economic growth, opting for more flexible or permissive regulatory environments. These differences create fragmentation in the global regulatory landscape, making it difficult to establish harmonized standards. Fourth, the increasing influence of non-state actors significantly complicates traditional governance models. Unlike many other policy domains, AI development is largely driven by private technology companies, such as Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI. These corporations possess substantial resources, technical expertise, and global reach, often exceeding that of individual states. Their central role in AI innovation challenges the state-centric assumptions of multilateral governance and raises questions about accountability, transparency, and regulatory authority. Incorporating these actors into a coherent governance framework remains an ongoing challenge. In addition, there are institutional limitations. Within multilateral systems themselves, decision-making processes in international organizations are typically slow and consensus-based, which can hinder timely responses to rapidly evolving technological developments. This temporal mismatch between the speed of AI innovation and the pace of multilateral negotiation creates governance gaps and reduces policy effectiveness. As a result of these factors, multilateralism in AI governance, while still necessary, tends to produce partial, fragmented, and often non-binding forms of cooperation, rather than comprehensive and enforceable global governance regimes. Instead of a unified global framework, what emerges is a patchwork of overlapping initiatives, regional regulations, and bilateral agreements. In conclusion, the limits of multilateral governance highlight the structural tensions between cooperation and competition, global norms and national sovereignty, and state authority and private sector influence. Addressing these challenges will require more flexible, multi-layered governance approaches that can accommodate diversity, while promoting coordination in an increasingly complex global AI landscape. C. The Global South Digital Divide. One of the most critical structural challenges in AI governance is the digital divide affecting the Global South. The Global South includes developing regions such as Africa, South Asia, and Latin America. These regions face multiple constraints in participating in and benefiting from AI development. First, there is a lack of infrastructure. AI development requires data centers, high-performance computing, and reliable internet access. Many countries lack such foundational infrastructure. Second, there is a data gap. Since AI is fundamentally data-driven, access to large-scale, high-quality data is crucial. However, countries in the Global South often have limited capacity to generate, collect, and utilize such data. Third, there is a shortage of human capital. The development of AI systems requires highly skilled professionals and advanced educational systems, which are often insufficient in these regions. Fourth, there is technological dependency. Rather than developing their own AI technologies, many Global South countries rely on technologies produced by advanced economies. This can lead to what is often described as digital colonialism. This divide is not merely technological, but represents the reproduction of global inequality. If AI becomes a key factor of production in the 21st century, disparities between those who control AI and those who do not are likely to widen. Although the UN emphasizes digital inclusion, its efforts are constrained by limited financial resources and implementation capacity. D. Can AI governance be global? The question of whether AI governance can truly be global is complex and multifaceted. In theory, it is possible. Other global challenges such as climate change, nuclear proliferation, and international trade have been managed to some extent through international cooperation. AI could similarly be governed at a global level. However, several constraints complicate this possibility. First, there is competition over technological sovereignty. As AI becomes a core component of national power, states prioritize competition over cooperation. Second, reaching normative consensus is difficult. There are significant differences among countries regarding AI ethics, data privacy, and military applications. Third, there is a problem of speed. AI technology evolves rapidly, while international governance mechanisms tend to move slowly. This temporal gap undermines regulatory effectiveness. Fourth, governance fragmentation is evident. AI governance is not centralized within a single institution, but is instead discussed across multiple platforms, including the UN, OECD, G7, and G20. This leads to overlapping and sometimes inconsistent regulatory efforts. Given these challenges, a fully unified global governance system may be unrealistic. Instead, a more feasible approach is multi-level governance. Multi-level governance involves coordination across global, regional, and national levels. At the global level, general principles and norms are established at the regional level. These norms are adapted and specified, and at the national level, they are implemented.